Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Dan Reed with SCORE Maine, and if you're not familiar with SCORE, we are one of the SBA resource partners where we provide free one-on-one small business mentoring with volunteers who've been in business and are looking to give back. And we also do workshops just like this one, where we put on anywhere between 8 to 12 workshops in the state of Maine, absolutely for free for entrepreneurs every month. And we put on topics just like this one, like email marketing with experts like Laura, who will come in and talk a little bit about what they're an expert at and how it might help small businesses. And with that, I want to say thank you to the Maine Technology Institute, who does support SCORE and makes these workshops able to be free with their support. So thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Laura to introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her, and get us kicked off here.
Awesome. Thank you for the intro and welcome everyone. We're going to be talking about email marketing right now, and obviously, marketing is so intertwined into so much about your business. There are so many different ways you can quote unquote do marketing, different focuses, different channels. Marketing is different for different types of businesses. So I do want to say, my background is that I have, I think now 17 years of marketing experience. Most of my experience is in B2B marketing. So, without knowing the types of businesses that you all run or a part of, something that I may say could be perhaps a little too much in that B2B world, or, relevant for just a certain type of business. And if you're finding that there's anything I'm saying that doesn't quite connect, or you're not sure how this applies to your specific business, please, unmute yourself, ask a question, explain a little bit about the context of your business and what you're trying to achieve. And I definitely want to make sure that this session is really valuable for what you need and where you're coming from in your own business. So we'll just jump right in, but definitely want to emphasize that this can be interactive, and certainly don't mind. We don't need to wait for the end to ask any questions. So is everyone seeing my screen okay? And hearing me? Okay, awesome. All right, so why prioritize email marketing? We'll kind of start off there because, like I said, there's so much you can be doing with your very limited time. And in addition to running a business and dealing with finances and taxes and bookkeeping and customers and product and delivery and whatever your business might be, marketing is just one piece, and it's hard to know why. Why carve out time to think about email marketing when there's so much going on? We'll talk about what that comprehensive email marketing strategy could look like, how to measure success, and how email can support the rest of what you're doing to promote your business. So like I said, I've been in marketing for 17 years, started in a generalist role, moved into email marketing production and email marketing automation, and then moved into broader roles regarding like demand generation, lead nurture, and now I'm in a life cycle role at a B2B data company in the construction space. So I've been able to apply a lot of these principles in a lot of different types of businesses through different lenses. And so if something that I'm saying doesn't quite resonate, or you're not sure how that can work for your situation, just ask. Okay, so I want to start real broad with what marketers have long described as the rule of 7. And I asked this question, or is it 10? Because, for a very long time, the understood rule of marketing is that you need to have 7 touch points with a potential customer before they're ready to buy from you, whatever it is you're selling. And with the landscape that we're in, all of your customers, all of your potential customers are being bombarded with content from so many different places. We have screens in front of us almost all of the time, depending on what our life looks like. We're seeing advertisements in all ways, all platforms. Promotions are even now weaved into like TV shows and movies. Sometimes I can spot some sponsored content. We are bombarded. You are bombarded. Everyone that you're trying to reach with your message about your business is bombarded all of the time. So assume that you probably need to touch base with them more than 7 times, perhaps 10. Some marketers even think it's double that. Because when I'm seeing messages from, on my phone and then at work and on the radio and in basically every moment of my life, even if your message is really compelling, it might not land enough to really create some brand recognition that I think, oh yeah, what was that business I heard about yesterday? Let me look them up. It may not have been even able to make enough of an impression for me to remember what your business name is. So whatever you're doing to touch base with your potential customer base, just know that like it's going to take some repetition for them to remember that you exist and to think of you when whatever problem you're solving or whatever solution you're providing is most relevant for them. So email is one piece of getting more touch points for you to reinforce that you even exist, that you have something of value to offer, and that they should take action now versus later. So once you have an email list, and we'll talk about how to build an email list. Once you have a database of people who have opted in to hearing from you, email is a really efficient, cost-efficient, time-efficient way to get more touch points, to get in front of those potential customers get more repetitions in, so that not only do they remember that you exist, but they think of you when they have a need that you can solve. So if you relied, and this is just kind of to re-emphasize that point, say you were only going to do organic social, you would be heavily reliant on the algorithms, trends, and all of the other voices on social media to get in front of your customer or your potential customer 7 times, 10 times. You'd have to be really spending a lot of time on social media for organic social to serve them up, any given person, 7 or 10 pieces of content from you. Same with paid ads. You'd have to have a really robust paid ad budget, whether that's radio or video ads or sponsored content on a social platform. If you wanted to get in front of the same person 7 to 10 times, you would need to have really deep pockets in order to do that. Same for sponsorships, radio promotion, even things like trade shows. Perhaps you're more in person, engaging with your audience, and of course, if you're having a full-on conversation with someone in person, that can really move the needle more for someone if they are really, speaking with you at the right time when they really need what you're offering. But email marketing is just a piece of that mix, so that if someone has opted into hearing from you, you can use that email database as a resource so that you can get your message out more times, show up in their inbox in really relevant ways, and start to create some brand recognition and hopefully some purchases. Another key difference between your social following and your email list is that you do not own your social following. And so I follow people all the time where every once in a while I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from that person in a long time. I'll go to their profile and realize they've been posting. I just perhaps didn't engage enough for the algorithm to think that I still wanted to see their content. And not to say that you have someone's undivided attention in the inbox, because that is also a very crowded landscape. But, when you have a social following, you can't take that with you. If you decided, oh, I don't like Instagram anymore and I'm done with them, I'm going to go to TikTok. Well, you have to start from scratch again and build that audience over there. You can't just take your Instagram followers with you. So with an email list, if you really invest in giving people a compelling reason to subscribe to your emails, that is something that you can take with you. If you use MailChimp today, but you want to switch to Constant Contact tomorrow, you can download your email list and then add it to Constant Contact in your setup, and you can still have that list with you. So just know that an email list is a business asset, that as you build it, having that audience is something that you get to keep and hold on to and bring with you no matter what platform you're choosing to use for your email. Okay, so this kind of sets up the idea of why email marketing, and these stats don't apply purely to email marketing. It's relevant for a lot of things in your business, but and again, this is more from like a B2B lens. We talk about leads, people, becoming a lead. They've filled out a form, they've raised their hand, they've done some action that tells the business that, yes, I'm interested. About half of new leads aren't ready to buy when they opt in. But 63% eventually do if they're nurtured. So again, email marketing is a really important piece of nurturing a relationship with someone, because if you want to scale and operate efficiently, you probably don't have the capacity to spend your one-on-one time like developing trust and like selling to each person individually. You can do a lot of that with more automated touch points. So if you can nurture someone over email and continue to engage with them and tell your story and give them a really compelling reason why they should continue to engage and hopefully buy from you, many of them likely will. Increasing customer retention by just 5% has been shown to increase profitability. I mean, that's a huge range. 25% to 95%, I acknowledge that that's a very big range, but I also found a lot of different individual studies that had different metrics. And so really, at the end of the day, it just kind of shows that, for your business, I'm not sure how much you could increase profitability. But if you have a customer and you keep that customer, or you keep just 5% more customers this year than you did last year, whether that's having them purchase from you repeated, or, more times than once, coming back to you many times for the same service, that is increasing your profitability, because you don't have to go find another customer to replace them. Once you have that customer, if you can really continue to nurture that relationship and make sure they have a really successful experience with your business, that can increase profitability. And then loyalty programs or referral programs, that can really have a big impact on your business as well. 49% of consumers agree they've spent more time after joining a loyalty program. So if you can really show your appreciation to your customers and make them feel like, okay, you belong here. This is a brand, this is a company where, we're aligned and we want you back and we're going to show a lot of appreciation to you. That can really, that can also impact your bottom line. So email marketing can support each one of these three things, which has real impacts for dollars and, where you end up at the end of the year. So we'll take a moment to talk through this because there is a lot going on here, but this is a little bit of the how behind what I talked about before with, nurturing leads, increasing customer retention, and then creating a loyalty program that is meaningful to your customers. So we'll walk through this one at a time, and then I'm going to pause after each one to wait for questions. So for new leads or people who are kind of in your sphere of influence, but they're not yet purchasing from you, this is what this could look like. And the specifics will differ based on what your business needs and what your customers need or potential customers. But what it looks like is you're out here trying to connect on various different platforms with your ideal audience, those people that have a problem that you can solve. And some people say, well, okay, my business doesn't solve a problem. I'm a, photographer. There's no problem that I'm solving. But you have to really dig deep into like, yes, you are actually solving a problem because, what do your customers want? Why do they buy from you? There's something very specific that they're wanting. They're wanting, family memories preserved. They're wanting perhaps content to share on social media. There's a reason people buy from you. They're solving a need, and it doesn't have to be, a basic need like food and water. You're solving a need. So what you're trying to do on all these different platforms where you're posting and you're sharing and you're buying ads and you're showing up, you're trying to connect with the people who need what you have. And hopefully you can capture their email address somewhere there so that instead of having to go out to these various platforms to find them again for those 7 to 10 touch points, you can start to draw them in to your own email database and to your own kind of like ecosystem where you have more control over the narrative and when you touch base with them, and you can start to develop that relationship. So you want to offer them something that if they're interested enough, if what you're offering is relevant for them, you can capture some information, hopefully their email address. And then once you have their email address, what you're trying to do is really build trust and tell the story and create some urgency about why they should buy from you now or the next time they have, a need that you can solve for. This can look many different ways. A lead nurture can look like offering some really compelling content to engage with, like videos, like, hey, we did a video of like how people use this thing, or hear from some of our happy customers, and you can send along some quotes or testimonials of people who have benefited from what you're offering. You can share stats like, like any information you have about how you're improving your customers' lives or how happy they are or how many times people return for repeat business. All of those things are stats that build trust with a potential customer. And you really kind of want to just tell your story and introduce your brand. They may not buy. You may have the best lead nurture campaign that has ever existed in the history of email, and some people still aren't going to be ready to buy. Maybe they love you and you're exactly who they want to work with, but they're just not ready. You want to then, after you kind of have a very intentional welcome or nurture campaign, you want to continue to engage with them. Stay top of mind for the people who are most relevant for you. So you may already create content for other platforms. Say you write a monthly blog, or you record videos every 2 weeks to put on social media. You can get more miles out of that content by, taking that blog post, summarizing it, putting it into an email, and sending to your leads or prospective customers as another meaningful touch point. You can take that video and share it with them over email for another meaningful touch point. What you're trying to do is stay top of mind, especially if they're your ideal customer, they're just not ready yet. And hopefully they do eventually convert. They buy from you, they book an appointment, whatever it is that they need to take to indicate I'm ready to purchase or I am purchasing now. Hopefully as you continue to engage, add value, and remind them that you exist, hopefully they will make that purchase. So that was a lot of talking, and I'm going to pause. How does everyone feel about what I just introduced about engaging with that like potential audience or potential customer audience? And Dan, if there's anything in the chat that I'm missing, feel free to call that out too.
I think there's just a little bit of kind of noise popping from the microphone, but otherwise, I think we're good to go.
Oh, okay. That's a bummer to hear because I really don't have any other applications open. Well, I will try to speak up regardless, and I definitely apologize for the noise static.
Yeah, we have a question from, looks like Jessica. Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura. I'm really enjoying your presentation so far. And I appreciate that you're asking for questions in the middle. That's very bold. Folks asked for the end. Okay, so I have an existing startup. We've been around for several years already, and we've already been running email campaigns with we do currently offer like a free forever subscription. So that's a good way for us to be collecting their emails. However, I also have, on a personal note, probably access through LinkedIn and through like my own personal career, thousands, at least a couple thousand email addresses for people who I've had personal communication with. How do you feel about including them on the initial distribution list for my company, even though we're talking like cousins, friends, neighbors,
Mm.
things of that nature. And I'm curious if you can talk about that a little bit.
Well, technically, you cannot email people who have not, you can't send marketing promotional emails to people who have not opted in. Um, Lots of people do it and they don't get sued. You could. But I mean, I would say, yeah. So legally, you're supposed to get someone's consent before adding them to any email marketing platform where, you know, you're essentially opting in for them. Like you kind of can't do that. But I mean, yeah, it's a gray area. If those people are personally connected with you and you kind of make an assumption like these people know me in real life, they've expressed interest in the business, I guess that would have to be a judgment call, just knowing that, like, if you're using MailChimp or something, when you upload a list, they make you certify that you have permission to email the people in that list. So it's something that you would have to take responsibility for as a risk that, like, maybe they don't actually want to be opted in. That's kind of, that's like where the line is on that. Is
I
that,
appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah,
it does help. Now that I think about it, when I launched my business, they're not really in my target audience anyway. It's just about getting the information out.
yeah,
I think I initially contacted them as essentially an email from me
okay,
personally,
yeah.
saying, "Hey, I'm launching this business." You know,
Right. So if it's a one-to-one communication, even if it is business related, that's fine. Like any salesperson in any organization can like go to a company website, find someone's email address and shoot that person an email and be like, "Hey, I work for so and so and I think that we could help you." They can't get sued for that. Like if the nature is a personal one-to-one communication, that's fine. But it's where you're starting to send promotional marketing emails that are not personal. They're not personal and they're not transactional, meaning they're not like receipts or operational things. That's where you get into some gray area. So especially if it was from your own personal email or work email and it's not through like a platform like a Constant Contact, if you had a list of people that you wanted to reach out to, I think that you're more in the clear there. And especially if it's like, hey, I know that, if it's like a neighbor and you're like, yeah, you're not my ideal customer, but if there's anyone in your network that needs this thing, like would love a referral, like that's fine.
okay, wonderful. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions before I continue? Okay, I'm gonna keep on keeping on. And I'm not looking at the chat because I'm sharing my screen, so please, Dan, feel free to interrupt me at any point.
No problem.
Okay, so to continue walking through this, and again, this is not meant to be like, oh, you have to do all of this and you need it. You need every single piece in order to say that you're doing email marketing. This is just what a high level big picture view is of what email marketing could look like from full life cycle, someone's brand new, all the way to your most loyal customer. So once someone does purchase, they have booked a consultation or a service, or they've bought the item. And again, if you're operating in person, that's another opportunity. If you have a storefront or you're collecting payment in person, you do try to think of ways where you could get someone's email address because again, you want to be able to, first of all, like welcome them, like thank you for purchasing. This is what we're all about here. You want to make sure that they have a successful experience and they know how to get a hold of you if something goes wrong. And also you want to create a relationship and start to build some loyalty there. So they purchase from you, money has been exchanged and they are now a customer. It would be great to create a new customer welcome or onboarding. And this again depends very much on the type of your business. So if there's like instructions on how to use the thing that you sell, or next steps someone should take, or if they have to wait for the product to be shipped and they don't have it yet. There are things that you can do to make sure that they're set up for success. That could look like, it could just look like a quick welcome, like a very low production welcome video recorded by you or someone in your company. Hey, thanks for buying, or we're glad you're here. This is what we stand for, and this is why we do what we do. And we want to make sure that you have the most successful experience possible. This is how you reach out to us if you have any questions. This is another great opportunity to provide social proof. Again, making them feel like not only did they purchase from you, but they feel good about it. You never want that exchange to be something where someone's like, I don't know, did I just get scammed, or are they actually good, or should I actually keep shopping? So, while I have a window to cancel, you want to make them feel like, yes, that was a good decision, and build some anticipation, whatever that might be for your business. So welcome, here's how to be successful. Here's how other customers are being successful. Perhaps even, if it makes sense for your business, here's a coupon for your next purchase. We're so glad you're here. Sometimes I think people feel like the only coupons or discounts or freebies they get is with the first purchase. I mean, you could really, reward loyalty and repeat purchases by making sure your customers feel like, no, you are really important to me. Just because money has changed hands, it doesn't mean I'm on to the next person. You are still important. And you can do that in a variety of ways. Just like you want to stay on top of mind for those people who haven't purchased from you, you want to stay top of mind for your customers too. Depends on your business cycle. If you're an accountant, you don't need to email them every 2 weeks. There's clearly a seasonality to what you provide, but, touch base in the fall when they need to be, thinking about gathering up their tax documents. Touch base in December and say, happy holidays. I hope you enjoy this time with your family. Please make sure that, we've booked your tax appointment by the end of January because I fill up fast. Just like touch points that keep you engaged with your customers and make sense for the type of business that you run. It doesn't have to look like you're emailing everyone every week. It depends on, really what they need and what makes sense. This is also a great time to gather feedback, because it helps to attract new customers if you have testimonials, statistics, things to share to make people feel like they can trust you and that it's going to be a good experience. So when someone has purchased from you, it's a great opportunity to say, hey, if you had a great experience with us, here's the link to our, wherever you're gathering reviews, whether that's Google or another platform. Give them the link and say, we'd really appreciate a 5-star review. It makes a huge difference for businesses like ours. If there's anything that was unsatisfactory or disappointing about your experience, call me so we can resolve. Because you don't really want to send people there if they're going to give you like a 2-star. Not that they can't. You obviously want to, run your business with integrity, but that's how I've seen it work really well. If you're really happy, please give us a 5-star, recommend what they're meant to do. Some people will, because you've told them it's important, and be like, yeah, sure, I'll give you 5 stars. And if you're not happy, call me. And then if there are problem areas that your customers generally run into, and again, so different for every type of business, but if there's a point where you generally see drop off, or a certain product that you sell that sees less repeat purchases than another product, you can get ahead of some of those problems or issues in a way that, again, makes sense for your business. Whether that's people are generally confused about a certain thing, proactively send an email like, hey, thanks for purchasing. Just know that, here's where parking is when you show up for your appointment, or anything else to make sure that experience is really positive from start to finish. If there's an area of confusion or frustration for your customers, it really helps to know that so that you can get ahead of it. And email is a great touch point. Text messages are also great touch points. especially for things like upcoming appointments or here's how to get it, here's how to find us, or here's where parking is. As promised, I'm going to pause. With regards to either section, either leads or customers, does anyone have any questions about how this might apply for their business, or is there anything that's unclear? Okay, going once. All right, I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I'll continue on to the last section. Okay, now when it comes to referral and loyalty, again, this is tied very closely to those new customers. You want to very quickly turn them into loyal customers. A few concepts here, reward loyalty. Certainly, if someone is purchasing from you repeatedly, say thank you. I honestly, as a consumer, I love receiving communications like that, whether that's an email or a letter or a phone call. Like, thank you for, we know you have choice. Thank you for coming back and purchasing multiple times or booking multiple appointments or whatever it might be. Make sure that your customers know that you want them there and that you're happy that they're there. Incentivize referrals. You can get really creative with this, because the more you understand your customers and what motivates them, the more creative and impactful you can get with referrals. So I'm going to tell just a quick story. It's not an original story. I heard it on a podcast and it was years ago and I've forgotten the source, which is not good of me. But I want to share it anyways because it was really insightful and I've remembered it many years now. They were telling a story of a high-end contractor. So not someone who's just building, average homes. These are like upscale, really high-end building projects. And they wanted referrals to their other rich friends. And so the contractor was offering, $500 or $1,000 to customers for a referral. And these were more high net worth customers. $500 or $1,000 wasn't really meaningful to them. A lot of times, it wasn't something that motivated them to really refer this contractor. And oftentimes they'd just say like, okay, donate it to such and such charity, because the dollar amount was not really meaningful to them. And obviously the contractor can't up the dollar amount. They can't do $10,000. It doesn't make sense business wise, but they really wanted referrals and they wanted to build that network of high net worth people who were in the area. So what they did is they said, okay, for every referral, you get a contractor for the day. And everyone, no matter what your net worth or how much money you make, everyone has random home projects that linger for months, sometimes years. You have trim that needs to be replaced. You have a squeaky stair. You have a room that needs to be repainted. You have some scuffing in some of your flooring that you want polished. Everyone has those annoyances that really you're not going to go out and fix yourself until you finally just get so fed up with it. So having a contractor for a day was really compelling to these people, because even if the value of the services received during that day was the same or even less than that cash referral reward, it really alleviated pain in their lives, and it was huge. Everyone wanted a contractor for the day at their disposal. So get creative, and the better you understand your customers, what they need, things even outside of your business that, if you know that even if you offer perhaps chiropractic care, but that most of your customers are, also benefit from yoga, perhaps find like a local yoga studio and say, hey, for every referral, you get a free yoga class. Get really creative, and the better you understand your audience, the more you can reward them in ways that make them feel seen and that they really will appreciate. Again, collect testimonials, even case studies. That's a bigger time commitment. And again, that's more relevant for like B2B businesses. But if you did a project for someone that was really successful, ask if you can share that. Ask if you can get some quotes at the minimum, or maybe a full-blown case study, so that other people can really see from start to finish how you delivered for a customer like them. And then depending on your business, again, I feel like I've said that about 50 times, so I'll try to stop. If like a customer advisory board is relevant, or beta testers, if you have you're launching a new app and you want the most loyal customers to try it out first, it's beneficial for you, but it also makes them feel like they're on the inside, that they do have that preferential treatment and insider access. And then ask surveys too, or get feedback perhaps at purchase, to give you more insights about your customers. So I know that we kind of just paused for questions, but I'd like to do something a little different. Does anyone have any examples of like rewards or loyalty programs that work really well for their specific business? Or anything else you'd like to share? Okay. Obviously, dollar amounts are certainly fine. After 5 purchases, offer someone a free this or free shipping or 20% discount. I think recognition or making sure you're communicating the appreciation is where what you're really trying to achieve. Okay, measuring success. If you're familiar with email marketing and you're kind of in that world a little bit, you may realize that, actually, sorry, Cynthia, you had a question.
No, it's okay. It's because I just thought about something that you said regarding you cannot send like a bulletin or mailing list to someone that didn't approve.
Right.
So I'm starting my business. I mean, it's officially on and everything, but how can I start requesting these authorizations of people for building? It's like kind of what Jessica was saying, how start building the database. But in my case, I don't have any contacts, not even the neighbors or a community. So I need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
But I would like to do it in a way to use those contacts for my mailing list. So how can I start that?
Okay. So I have a slide on this and just a couple more slides. So I won't get into it in detail right now, but I'm glad you asked because, right, when you're starting from zero, that's really intimidating. Depending on what you offer, you want to, a discount, someone has to fill out this form and then they get a coupon code. Or, you recorded, a free piece of content. You could call it a free webinar course or something that's just gated behind a form. If you're doing things in person, there's ways to get email addresses as well. One thing that I want to surface that I don't think is on this later slide is taking advantage of other people's audience. So if there's someone who perhaps does something different from you, but they have a large audience that is your target audience, you could try to get exposure in their emails. If they send a monthly newsletter out, you could, and you'd have to pay for this, I'm sure, unless this is like a personal friend or someone you know well, but you could sponsor a spot in their newsletter and try to borrow other people's audiences. So it does take a little bit of time to build momentum, but whatever it is that you've decided, okay, try a few things. Try gating content, try a coupon code, whatever it is. And then once you have a sense of something that is compelling to your target audience, then kind of double down on that and create a lot of content about it, perhaps on your social channels or, run some ads. Because if you kind of have proof of concept that people are willing to exchange an email address for this thing, whatever it might be, then, hit home on that. Be really prescriptive with your potential audience of like, this is how to engage with me. First step, you got to watch this video because this introduces X, Y, and Z or whatever it might be. I'll offer this up later too, but I'm happy to also spend one-on-one time with any of you. Like if you want to email me and just ask, like, this is the specifics of my business and I'm really stuck. Like, do you have a few ideas? I'd love to just, we can just exchange over email or whatever and brainstorm. So that is something I'd I'd love to participate in for sure. So we'll get more into that in just a moment. As far as when you are emailing and you're trying to measure, is this working or is this not working? Open rates are not completely reliable. What I mean by that is there are email providers or devices like Apple devices, for example, that will sometimes go through and kind of in the background auto open their users' emails. And the reason that they're doing that is they're looking out for their audience. They're looking out for their users, and to make sure that if there's any spam that comes through, they're catching it before someone accidentally clicks on it. So you can't fully rely on your open rates. You can't fully rely on your click-through rates to give you an exact picture of how many eyeballs were on your email. It may say that you had a 28% open rate. You're not sure that all 28% of those people looked at your email with their eyeballs. That's okay. It's the world that we operate in. It's just something that you have to check mark. I accept that. I understand that these are metrics that are, what they are. What you can really track and take stock in is trends over time. What is your benchmark? Because say you get an average of 20 to 30% opens on all of your emails that you send. Whenever you send to non-customers, leads, you generally get a 15% open rate. And whenever you send an email to customers, you get a 40% open rate. And then on average, you're 20 to 30%, whatever. Benchmark what feels normal for your business, because if something dips really low or goes really high, that is information that you can use. So if all of a sudden you email your prospective customers, those who haven't purchased from you, and you get a 35% open rate, you can say, oh my gosh, something worked. What was that? What did I do? And you can also utilize A/B testing within a given platform. Usually in all email platforms, you can test out things. You can test out subject lines. You can test out different emails. You can test an email with an image versus one with no image. So you'll have to benchmark what's working based on your own experience and what is your baseline and what's out of the norm. And are they taking the desired action? If your email is encouraging people to click to check out your new product line, are people clicking to check out the new product line? Do you see a lot of clicks on that specific link from your email? And then on your website, that page with the new product line, are you seeing spikes there? Are you seeing people take the action that you want them to take? You may be asking them to watch a video or leave a review or download something. Make sure that your email is very clear about what you're asking them to do, and it should have a reason why it's relevant to them, and then see if that's working. You want to really send customized emails when you can that are very relevant for a given person at a given time. This actually relates to a previous slide where it's talking about, again, kind of like how email marketing does support your overall business success. If you have a comprehensive kind of life cycle email marketing strategy, and don't let that term intimidate you. It's just all those pieces we talked about before. You're, welcoming people, you're appreciating your customers, you're rewarding loyalty. That has over time a really big impact on your financials and your sustainability as a business, your profitability. If you are making sure that you are intentionally welcoming every new lead when they opt in to hearing from you, you are intentionally sending them messages that lead them toward the success, like solving the problem that your business solves, connecting with the solution that they're after. That means that you're taking advantage of all those opportunities. Every single opt-in is an opportunity for someone to become a customer. Once someone does become a customer, email marketing is helping to make sure that they are supported and set up for success. You're creating loyalty, and turning customers into advocates. So it all really is intertwined with what you're trying to do as a business overall. Where to start? So I would suggest that, first of all, anyone in your space, whether you consider them a competitor or not, maybe they're just someone who does something similar in a different region, sign up for their emails and take a look. How were you able to do it, and what did that look like? Did they give you an offer? Did they give you a freebie, like free shipping? Did they give you a free consultation? What was the thing that they're teasing out there? And I wouldn't just follow one competitor or one similar company. Try to follow lots of different people, both on social media, and sign up for their emails, do some ghost shopping, check out their website, see what's working for them. Do they have pop-ups on their website? Do they have offers in their email? How many times or how often are they emailing? Are there any ideas you can learn from? And obviously, I would never advocate for stealing someone's content, but most people are doing relatively similar things. Sometimes there's some new ideas that might work really well. So take advantage of all of that. You can go to anyone's website and opt in for their emails and see exactly what they're doing. And this can give you ideas for what's working well. You might look at their email and be like, okay, this is a very successful business, and actually their emails are not that compelling. I know I can do better, or I could speak to my customers in a more authentic way than they're doing, and they're doing really well as a business. So I've got this. Like, I can take this and use those ideas to push my email marketing forward. It's 2026, so I have to talk about AI because apparently everyone is talking about AI all of the time. It's very exhausting personally, but I would feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't mention AI. So here we are. If you're uncomfortable with AI, if you don't like AI, if there's any reason why AI is not something that you want to utilize for your business, you should not utilize it for your business. It is not the magic bullet. It is not the thing that is going to make the difference between your business being successful or not being successful. AI didn't exist, a decade ago, and people in your business were probably doing well and figuring out how to have thriving businesses. So I don't advocate for AI specifically, and I certainly don't think that, well, you just got to get on the train. It's 2026, you've got to do it. You don't have to. If it's uncomfortable for you or you don't want to, for whatever reason, don't. But it can also be a really efficient way to generate ideas, to try out your content and ask for other suggestions on what else I should do. You can even give it prompts like this of like, and this is very specific, but I am an equine chiropractor. This is my slow season. I actually don't know if chiropractors have a slow season, but this is the prompt. Can you give me ideas for an email campaign to send to existing subscribers that will generate some business without my having to offer a discount? So your prompt and then you can get a response, and then you can further refine your prompt. But feel free to use an AI tool of your choosing if you'd like to, and play around with it. Cynthia, you could go in there and say, this is what my business is. This is my website. I don't have any email subscribers, and I don't want to offer a discount. That's not going to work for me. How can I get more email subscribers? Like, AI may generate some ideas. They may be generic and not specific enough for you, or there may be a light bulb moment where you're like, oh, I've never thought of that before. So if you're comfortable using AI, feel free to do that to get an idea of like, what should I feel like I should be emailing my customers more often, but I don't know what to say. Use this as a tool if you'd like to. And then again, the through line for all of business and marketing and email marketing is the better you know your customers, the better your content will be. If you can anticipate what they may need from you right now, or what questions they may have, or if whatever it might be, you can get ahead of that, turn that into content, and have a relevant reason to email them with a touch point that adds value. So I'm gonna stop right there again. I know we're getting close to time. Any questions at this moment? Okay. All right. I do want to be respectful of our time and end on time. So, as Cynthia, this is what I was referring to. Here is just kind of a dump of some different ideas that may work for your business and may not. Kind of, especially for more consumer facing or B2C businesses, a free trial, a free demo. This is more B2B, but an informational webinar, anything that you can gate. So say your audience generally deals with this problem, this X problem, and you have an interesting take on that, or you have a new unique perspective. You could, record a 10-minute webinar and throw together a couple of pieces of information and put that behind a gate, meaning like they can't get there, they can't access that content unless they give you their email address. You could do coupon codes, free shipping, a bonus gift. Give them a reason to give you their email address, even if they're not ready to buy yet. In a financial B2B space, I saw a myth versus fact asset work really, really well. It was just a small pop-up on the corner of the homepage of the website, and it was a myth versus fact that was, and then the topic was very specific to the typical customer. And that worked really well. And over the course of, a year or two, those people who opted in from that asset, the company generated a lot of revenue from those that they were then able to, convert, and then those that they were able to keep as clients. Exclusive email content or membership group where you can showcase your, thought leadership while warming your leads. I've seen email courses be a thing. Opt in for a, 5-day email course on this thing. Again, courses could be more B2B or B2C depending on exactly who you're talking to, but, and really it was just 5 emails sent one day apart, kind of walking through a given scenario. And it was, obviously content very specific to what the audience was expecting from that type of business. File downloads like an infographic, a template, a framework, on-demand course, tutorial, video, even a challenge. Again, all dependent on what's relevant for your audience. So I think that is actually the end of the slides, and I'm going to just leave this slide up here. This is my email. If you have other questions and you want to get a hold of me, you can send me questions and I will reply and answer your questions or give my thoughts. And then of course, I'll share these slides with you. Actually, I think Dan will be the one sharing the slides with you afterwards. There will be a survey link, and you can also find a SCORE mentor if you don't have one, but we have enough time for a quick discussion or any questions if there's anything that you want answers on here.
Laura, I do have one question from your last slide.
Yep.
Thank you for the webinar, by the way.
You're welcome.
When you mentioned the idea of putting some kind of content behind a gate, what might be an example of a gate?
Oh, okay. So really just a form. So like MailChimp and Constant Contact or your web hosting provider will often have the functionality of you creating a form, and you can put that form on a landing page. And once they fill out the form with their email address, then you can direct them to another landing page that says, thanks for your email, here's your resource or asset or download. And then you can also email it to them as well. Sometimes businesses will actually only email it. Like if it's something that people really want, they actually will force people to go to their inbox to find the asset or the thing or the coupon code, because that increases email deliverability. Like if Gmail and other email providers see people at a very high rate opening those initial emails from your business. That increases your sender reputation from a technical standpoint, which is good for your business as well, because you don't really want your emails going to spam. So that's one way people do it. So a form either through your email provider or from your web, like web provider.
And now the 10-minute webinar you mentioned, the idea of a 10-minute kind of webinar regarding specific content. So if I was to do, I set up a little webinar, a little 10-minute video clip
Yep.
of content. I would have to have that. I guess if you do it on Zoom, I guess there's a way to save it, but you have to kind of have it be placed somewhere on a
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, exactly. So you'd have to have a landing page where that video can live. And yeah, so after someone would fill out the form, then they'd be directed to that landing page and then be able to watch the webinar.
And that might be able to be posted on my. I use for my website. I use Bluehost as the hosting, but I think it's a WordPress.
Yep.
Yeah, so I could probably set up a page on my website that has some video content on it.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any other questions?
Hi, this is Lisa here. So my question really is around just developing the emails as a whole, because when you talk about comprehensive full cycle, it looks like a lot of emails. There could be an email for every minute of their journey. So I'm just looking at like how long realistically does it take, and then even if you're creating them in batches, what's a good like set, or do you know what I mean? Like, how do you focus on, oh, I'm creating this amount at this particular time, and that would be good until I can get to the next set? Or is it that you sit and create? Well, you already said that, like, you don't have to sit and create everything at once, but it's just balancing the pace is where I'm, and even look, not trying to be overwhelmed by everything. That's what I'm, wondering about.
So I would make sure that at the bare minimum, if you're collecting email addresses, when someone opts in through whatever means you have set up right now, there's an immediate email sent to them saying thank you. And ideally, that would be another meaningful touch point where you can offer something, perhaps link to your most popular blog post or a coupon code, something where it's like, thank you so much for being here. Make sure there's at least one email that is being sent automatically, that hopefully they will open when they receive it, confirming you're subscribed. I'm so glad you're here. If you kind of feel like, oh, I'm on a roll and I have more to say, I want to tell more, I want to give more story of like why I do what I do, or sure, go ahead. Just make sure there's one email confirming like you are subscribed and I'm so glad you're here. Perhaps if that feels like, okay, I did that, I need a minute, okay, I'm ready to focus back in. What do I do next? I would say make sure that after someone makes a purchase, as money is exchanged hands, that is your next area of focus to make sure that your brand new customer is 100% set up for success. So you may decide that, okay, I need to make sure that they know, yes, the purchase went through and your product is on the way, or you're confirmed, you're booked, I'll see you in a week, can't wait. Make sure that new customer experience is really buttoned up, because you don't want someone to regret making a purchase or giving you money. You don't want them to feel like they made a mistake, or feel like, oh, maybe I should have gone with someone else. I don't even know if this is a real business, So make sure that new customer experience is really buttoned up.
Thank you so much. Those are two strong areas to start with, and then you can fill everything else in as needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, I know that we're at time, but I do genuinely offer you availability if you want to email me. I would be happy and honored to be able to troubleshoot, give you some ideas, or we can get on the phone. It's something that I'm proud to do as a SCORE volunteer. It makes me feel good. So, please take me up on that offer if you have more questions. But I'll
Thank you so
let,
much, Laura.
you're welcome.
And I will be adding Laura's email to the follow-up email. So when you receive a follow-up email, if you'd like to talk to her, please feel free. I'll have their email address in there. I'll also include the slide deck and a recording of today's workshop. And thank you for everyone for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, guys.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Laura, Dan.
Bye.
Bye.